I think Jordan Davis is a really fascinating prospect. Obviously, he's this incredible physical specimen, right? At 340, still had an incredible 40-yard dash. Just his athleticism in general is great. He has power, and my criticism of Davis has typically been, I feel like he is kind of a one-trick pony at times. That being said, that trick is really good. I mean, it's awesome, and we'll get into it and talk more about it. There's just some issues I have with him as well. Like, I feel like that's kind of the one thing that he does well, is that kind of power rush move, and I want to see a little bit more before I'm willing to take him with a, top 15 pick, in my opinion. And we can really get into the film and kind of get into the exact details of what I'm talking about. So starting off right here, so you see where he is on the field. He is going to be going up one-on-one against an Auburn left tackle right here. Right when this play begins, it seems like he's maybe a little bit surprised by where the block is actually coming from, as that tackle is trying to set the edge and give his running back some room to just run to the outside there. So good initial start by the tackle himself. This is not a bad play by Davis whatsoever. And in fact, this is a good play by Davis. I'm starting off with the positive with Davis because this is a legitimate good play by him. Watch him pull off this swim move and be able to go over and help make that tackle. He is a legitimate force in the running game. There's no denying that, and that's what's exciting about Davis. I have no doubt that Jordan Davis will help your football team. If you're watching this video and you just saw your favorite team draft Jordan Davis, there is legit reasons to be excited, and I'm not sitting here saying, oh, well, he's going to be a bust. I don't think he will be. Moving on to a play like this, where that is where he is on the field right here. And watch him with this first step just completely be able to get past that line, and then he's able to go out and make the play. He doesn't always get a great first step, but he will on occasion, and it's a joy to watch when he does. So, again, there are no shortage of Jordan Davis highlights. What there is a bit of a shortage of is just Jordan Davis plays in general. As I said, he's not on the field a lot, and quite frankly, I did see some low-effort plays. For example, something like this. And before I get into this, I want to be very clear in that I am not accusing Jordan Davis of being lazy. I'm accusing him of not having the best endurance. That's what I'm accusing him of. Listen, if I tried to run 5 football snaps, I'm sure I would pass out. So I'm not trying to sit here and say like, oh, why aren't you doing it more? I'm just saying, listen, he's a big guy, and so you are going to have to sub him out at times. Watch how right when this play begins, I mean, look, he's not even trying to rush the passer on this play. Like, he had no intention of actually trying to make that play work. Listen, I get it. You're up 24 points with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. But then don't be on the field, right? Don't even be playing then if you're not going to be giving it any effort. I just didn't love to see that. So if it is just him taking a play off because they're blowing another team out, okay, that's fine. But this isn't the only example that I saw of something like this. You could go back to this play, which isn't exactly the same thing, but this is another kind of concern I've had with him is sometimes it just seems like he doesn't know what to do at times. He kind of just is in a spot and it just kind of, maybe doesn't have the killer instinct that you might like. Watch how he's going to get through basically completely untouched. The quarterback, held onto the ball for a while, but Davis just did not get over to try and rough him up at all. That's something that I would have liked to see him do, is get there quicker. So he chose not to do that. I guess it should be more clear of my wording. Maybe he didn't choose not to do that, but more so of he kind of was, surprised by the fake. It's like, listen, if this is going to be a jet sweep, you're not getting over to the wide receiver anyways. Go hit the quarterback. This stuff isn't a big deal. It's not a big concern. If this was the worst thing about him, I'd say, who cares? But it's something I noticed. As I always say, if I notice it and it's on tape, I'm going to talk about it. It was noticeable, and these aren't the only examples of it either. Let's also move on to something like this. So he's going to get double teamed right here, which, again, you get double teamed, you do your job. That's what you want to do as a defensive lineman, is if you can draw the double team, cool, then you just take on a double team and allow someone else to make the play, which is true. But again, at the NFL level, will he be getting double teamed? Still probably to some degree. But anyways, watch how he takes on this double team. I mean, again, look, he's going to get beat, and he is going to get beat relatively badly there. I mean, this, again, happened. He would get beat at times in the running game. He's not an unstoppable force by any means. There are some of these plays on tape that you will notice if you watch a good amount of his film. That's why I have someone like Devontae Wyatt higher than someone like Davis. Wyatt doesn't really have these issues on film. Wyatt, I couldn't see any of this stuff. With Davis, you do see it. Now, again, going over to something like this is kind of, I think the good with Jordan Davis is, again, how quick he can be off the line at times. It reminds you of almost like a Gerald McCoy a little bit at times, where McCoy was so quick off that line. It's not consistent enough for me, but it will happen. And this is a really cool play. It's not ideal, but it's watch what happens. Look how right away he just steps in to where the player who's trying to block him just can't get the position that he wants to block him. Now, there is going to be a tight end who's flashing over, so Georgia, wasn't able to get exactly what they wanted. Kentucky kind of lucked out a little bit there. As you see, the block still ends up getting made, but still, that's a good play by Davis. It doesn't matter that the actual X's and O's of the play didn't result in a pressure from it. It was still a good play. So there are definitive things to like about Davis, and I'm not trying to pretend like he's some trash player, because he absolutely is not. But I also want to sit here and say, listen, this isn't some just can't miss prospect that's going to be awesome. People have brought up Vita Vea comparisons, and that's kind of the best case scenario with Davis. But Vea wasn't just a great physical specimen. He also had way more production in college and has more endurance than Davis is. You can't just make these comparisons because you see some similarities. You can't just sort of dream about a player. You have to say what is the reality of that player, and then maybe can we get him to be Vita Vea. And listen, the guy's 22 now, and he just turned 22 a couple months ago, so he was 21 during some of those plays. So that's promising, right? He has room to grow. You want younger guys. He's a couple years younger than Devontae Wyatt, so maybe that's why Wyatt is a little bit more polished than someone like Davis. I think that's a totally reasonable and fair thing to bring up. I also would like to bring up as well, though, if you're a fan of PFF, which you guys know I like, not everyone is a big fan of, but his grades were not spectacular. His best pass rush grade was 69.0, which is an okay college grade. You need that to be you would prefer that to be a really good grade for someone like Davis. And his run defense grade, even that wasn't spectacular. It was a good 86.5. That's a good grade. You'll definitely take that, but only 378 snaps last year. And again, like I said, some of those he took off. So how many did he actually play? That's the legitimate concerns to have about Jordan Davis. That being said, I have done mock drafts where I've taken him in the first round multiple times because, again, I like him if you're drafting him for the right reasons. Maybe that's kind of the thing I'll end this video on, is if you're drafting Jordan Davis, you draft him for the right reasons. You're expecting him to be a rotational player who can be really good at that rotational stuff. Because like I said, there's parts of his game that are awesome, but if you're expecting him to be a 3-down player, that's just not what you're getting. You're getting someone who I wouldn't expect more than 400 snaps from him, because he's never done that before in his collegiate career. He has 1,127 snaps in the 4 seasons he's been, he was in college. So, with those 4 seasons, listen, again, there was really good stuff, especially last year. There was definitely some great things on tape when he was in a role that he could really thrive in. So the question just becomes, is he going to be more than that? I actually kind of like the idea to some degree of a team like the Chargers or the Patriots saying, you know what, we're going to draft him and we're going to let him be a role player immediately and just hope he figures some of this other stuff out and can be a great player. I don't hate that whatsoever, but that's just kind of how I view him personally. And I did have a little bit lower of a grade on him than others did, but that's what I think about him. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.